Good day, it is Stephen Davids here, and in this video I will show you how to put words to song, or at least this is one method and the method I used. And what I mean when I say put words to song is, suppose you have a song, a lyric or something that you want to put music and add music to, but it's not necessarily compose the music originally, but that you use existing music. Good news is that you do not need to know or to read music notes. You also do not need a special software or hardware. It's very simple and easy. The background is that I did put a song to music, and I want to share this method with someone else who may use it. And this is in the following steps I used. Decide on what you want to put by music and why you want to do it. I wanted to popularize a religious confession of our church, and I want to make the content better known. That was my reason, and the reason and the content plays a very important part, what happens further on. You also decide on the language that you want to use. We have a multilingual society in South Africa, as also a multilingual church, and this was important because we have three languages that's predominant: Afrikaans, Xhosa, and English. If I selected Afrikaans or English or Xhosa, I would have then had to translate it into the other indigenous language. I decided on English because English then is more international. Everyone can use it. It's more accessible, and it takes away the need then to translate the thing again. Select an appropriate musical song. This is what I start off. I chose When the Trumpets of the Lord Shall Sing. It was primary reason one, there was no copyright attached to it. So it's copyright lapsed many years back, and copyright is a very important thing. It had an appropriate atmosphere. It's not sad, not frivolous, it's not secular, it's religious, uplifting. For example, it's not a thing like I could have taken a Jingle Bells, which is also no copyright, but it's more secular. It doesn't convey the gravity of the content I want to put to music. The song When the Trumpets of the Lord Shall Sing is also well known. It's easy, simple, and it's accepted across the various age and cultural groups. I just went ahead to download various musical versions of the song, and copyright is not an issue at this stage because you simply use it for your personal use. And you want to familiarize yourself, okay, this is exactly how the thing goes. I also downloaded 2 songs with melodies with words so that I can exactly know, okay, this is the way it goes. For example, if it's difficult to believe, but when you start composing your song, you start getting confused, and you must again physically sing the melody to know exactly how the music flows. Just to have the first verse and the chorus is enough. I also downloaded various musical versions, organ, orchestra, piano, trumpet, etc. The reason was that some people who play, musicians, they each had their own interpretation of a song, where they sometimes repeat a phrase or something. So when you ultimately compose your song, you must make sure that it is not hindered or limited due to one version, but that you can put the song that you have, and you can still use the same basics music, add various interpretations. I also download the lyrics of the song. The lyrics of the song showed me how many verses there was, how many lines a verse had, and the length of the verses, lines. And I was surprised to see this chorus, because you sing the thing so you don't really see, but that is actually the chorus. And ultimately, it also showed that I had to compress a lot of material into a very small piece of available piece. You must familiarize yourself with the content of what you want to put into song, and you must in fact internalize it. I studied the Belhar Confession many years back, and I studied and I could stay up to date, but I'd done primarily Afrikaans. So, but I want to put it in English, so I had to familiarize myself again with the confession, with the summaries thereof, because I want to get the gist of the message. And I could not, there's not a lot of movement. If you would use with a text like this, was religious confession, there's not a lot of freedom, because I must stay as truthful as to the original as possible. I don't allow the chosen lambs to get familiar with the terminology. And when I say familiarize yourself with everything, I mean you must internalize, make it part of your heart, part of your mind, part of your being. Because when you start composing, it must come natural, it must come out of yourself, out of your inner self. I also had to use some segment to some. Luckily, I did not need to segment it, because I followed the segmentation of my content. My content was segmented in 3 pieces: unity, diversity, and justice. And I used just added the general introduction. But having the segmentation helped me a lot, because it means you can focus on one verse specifically. As I said, you focus on one verse. Strange as it is, this is how God works, and this is how things go. The chorus came first. The chorus just came, and then after I settled on the chorus, then I could focus on one verse at a time. I must stress, I focused on one verse at a time, because it was too much of the content. I could not, if I tried to do everything at once, I would not have been able to. So I focused on one segment. And I did not write the segment strangely, the verses one after the other. No, done it as it came. Done the first verse, then the second verse, and then a fourth verse. And then later on returned to the third verse. Now this is now a very sort of creative part where you must just give yourself over to God and to our Creator, to the upper being, so that He just flows through you. Must try to sing the essence of one segment. Ne? It's a volatile process. It's a moving process. The one comes and then the other thing comes. You have one word and then something else. As soon as you have a more or less a structured thing, you write it down. It doesn't need to be the perfect thing. A draft, you write it down. When you're happy with, then you sing the draft on the various musical interpretations. And then you see, okay, but this word doesn't flow. I need to adapt it. Maybe you put the alternative words there. Maybe insert words. Maybe delete words, shorten words, lengthen words. Use words with something to that effect, to get the correct flow and the music so that it's synchronized. So then you sing it, you write it down, you edit it, and then you sing it again, write it down. This is a circular move, a cyclic process that continues until you are satisfied. Finish one verse, then you go to the next until you have all things finished. But stick and finish one verse first, because that is, otherwise you will not complete it. After you have everything, you edit the song. Look, you worked with a big text. You wanted to put it in music. You know what you wanted to say, but do you say it in the text? Is it really on the text? And if it's on the text, does it make sense what stands there on its own? So then you edit it. Man, you leave it for a few days and then you see, does it really make sense as it is there? For someone who doesn't know the bigger text or anything, but just reading it and listening to the music, will that person get the gist of because it's easy to make a thing that rhyme, but it can be rhyme nonsense. You can rhyme nonsense. So it must make sense, it must make linguistic sense and grammatical sense. And of course, an amazing starts with publishing a song, because you didn't write for yourself. Publish a written text. First start with, of course, writing it, giving it a copyright. Say that this is the song with what's the tune that's attached to the song. And then you can go further. It's necessary that you can sing a song yourself, or ask a group or some people to sing it and then publish it on I sang it and published it on YouTube. Unfortunately, I didn't have all the instruments, but the key was right. But the fact of the matter is, I showed it can be done. Because when people first read the words, they think it will not fit. And it's saying you have to show, but the words fit. You must have sought promote your song, send it to relevant people. I was blessed to have it, the music sung at an official occasion of the church, and then you must also attend the occasion where the song is sung. Because I mean, and I'm happy I've done it, because the song was sung the first time was a little bit dead, and I thought the song would just have peculiar, so I went forward and I helped to give it a lively tune that I intended it to have. It's a word of encouragement. It's easy and yet also difficult. At some stage, I struggled with the last section that I had to write the second verse, and I thought at that moment, I've got everything right, but if I don't have this verse right, I can't get it right. The whole song is useless. It's condemned. All the other parts are condemned to consonant and so on. But God is good. He helped me. Thank you very much for watching this video. We love constructive comments and criticism. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video, and please comment.